Well, again, we hope that you did enjoy that edition of Johnny's Bite from the studios of 3FM 92.7. Let me say good morning to all of you. Again, joining us, we have cash out going with the Shoko star 439 hash. Increase the number of tickets you have, become one of those lucky winners as always. And I guess that you can be only lucky if you know that this is for certain. No, there's this certainty I can assure you. Star 439 hash, choose option 2, increase the number of tickets you have, and then when you want to be lucky, it is well assured because you will then be having your numbers replicated. So they'll be multiplying on the electronic dashboard so that when the draw is done, electronically your number will be picked. Well, for those who are watching, and if digital team is monitoring, we have a couple of accounts on our stream who keep sending these scam messages about data and all that. If they could be blocked, that would be fine. One of them is Amos Buedi. So if Benjamin Nunu can block them, that will be fine. So Amos Buedi, Benjamin Nunu, please block him. Frimpong Emmanuel, block him as well. Okay. Prince Nani Ayok, you've joined us. We're grateful that you've joined us as well. Kwesi Mensah is watching us from Albany, New York. Watching us from the UK, I have Charles Thompson. I can say him. From Finland, I have Ni Odate Mills Justin. Good morning to you, Justice. Wishing you all the best. And then Cyril Ama is also watching from Kumasi, Bantama. Cyril Ama, you're not watching from, okay. That's also cool. And Black Acid Nanajirin Chi and Ni Jase Nani. Good morning to you. And again, we have them. Please block them. Amos Buedi. All those who keep sending data messages on the stream, please block them. Benjamin, very important. All right, please. We're here to speak about two important issues. And critically, is a subject matter of when the Auditor General undertakes his reports, etc. You know that the citizens have been now very clear. When the public officers come before the Public Accounts Committee, some of the questions, you know, they are not able to answer them, why they undertook certain decisions in expenditure and accountability. More importantly, just the Local Government Committee and Pukwe Soya, the Honorable Member of Parliament, had been doing some great work, asking very incisive questions of those who are DCEs, as well as their various people they work with, particularly the coordinators, etc., the internal auditors, and sometimes, and that is why when you work with good internal auditors, you always have good accolades, you know. But what do we do with them? The presidency is now giving a directive. And so the president is giving a directive to AG. There's supposed to be the setting up of special courts to be prosecuting such cases. All right. And again, we will apprise you of the losses from the Attorney General's reports indicating the losses. We'll tell you about that now. But let me just introduce to you. I have Edem Agbana. Edem Agbana is a Member of Parliament for Ketu North. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
You were at the Duamanafa Grand Deba on Saturday. I saw you with a sash. You look very elegant.
Thank you, Roland.
Welcome back to Accra.
Thank you. It was a great program.
And then I have Dr. Joshua Jabunti Zato, a.k.a. Sisala East, incoming. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, Roland. Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you once again. And Solomon Owusu was the moderator, the coordinator, when they launched their new party, Movement for Change Transition now to United Party. And then yesterday, Lawyer Apia Dankwa came on Monday, I believe. And then yesterday also, they were adding plus to it. What position do you have in the United Party? Solomon also, good morning.
Good morning, Roland, and good morning to my co-panelists. My position is the Director of Communications, spokesperson.
You're Director of Communications.
And also the spokesperson for the party.
Great.
Yes.
The Commercial Manager for Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Ghana, commercial manager, Peter Justice Gariba. Good morning to you. It's coming from Ishen and Ebo and the rest of the team that you work with at Coca-Cola. And sometimes you do some great publications. I need to get one of them onto 3 News. Your opinions are always very important. Peter Justice Gariba, Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Ghana, commercial manager. But Felix Kwachofosu is next. Well, the president met with the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, and then also the Auditor General, according to the statement, and subsequently the decision to set up the special courts based on the statements issued by the presidency, so to speak. And as a result, at the meeting, it was agreed that the special courts will be designated to handle cases coming from the various audit reports based on audit infractions that have been noticed so far. And we know what the numbers are. Sometimes they are not pleasant. We'll take you through what the numbers are as quickly as possible. And, well, the losses, especially over the last couple of years. So we'll again apprise you of that. And sometimes you look at the numbers. I believe last week we talked about the subject matter. All right. Okay. And then, so if you look at the numbers, they're just quite brazenly difficult to even fathom, so to speak, when it comes to the losses. And we have, in just the last year, we had a number of losses that were recorded, so to speak. Importantly also, you have the Auditor General raising concerns about how they are not able to recover those amounts of money. And so we'll just take you through. And so the summary of the irregularities, okay, from 2020 to 24. But more importantly, from what we indicated the last week, recoverable and administrative irregularities from 2018, 3 billion, and then subsequently 5 billion in 2019, 12 billion in 2020, 2021, 17 billion, 15 billion 2022, and the last year 18 billion. Adam, the question is special courts to do the trick or not to do the trick?
Well, Roland, let me say good morning to you, to my brothers on the panel, and also to our cherished viewers, especially to the good people of Ketu North. Let me particularly send my appreciation to the people of Penny for hosting me and my team graciously last weekend for the 3rd accountability series. And they came out in their numbers. The paramount chief himself was in attendance with other chiefs and queen mothers, and they stayed with us deep into the night. Even when we had some showers of blessings from above, they remained with us for us to account to them. It tells me that the people of Ketu North are looking out for accountability from me as their member of parliament, and I appreciate. And also to say that, Roland, this weekend we will be celebrating Deza, and the people of Juja have actually started it's a week-long activity, but the Grand Deba is on Saturday, so I'll be joining the paramount chief, Togbi Joku, and all the other chiefs and queen mothers to celebrate Deza. We are inviting you to come and experience Deza, and ahead of that, we've already shared some seedlings, oil palm seedlings, to farmers who requested that through my office. Also to say in my opening remarks that this weekend we'll be crowning Mauli's 75th anniversary, and I want to invite Solomon and Dr. Zato to Mauli School. That's the best secondary school in Ghana, and we are celebrating our 75th anniversary. That is not up for debate. So, Dr. Zato, the mysterious looks that you are giving me already, don't debate that. Roland, going into the main issue of setting up specialized
I've seen that you've been quote unquote insulting people. Telling them that their school is not correct.
Oh yeah, Mali is the best, and I mean when you have some
on social media.
No, we are not insulting them. We are just telling them.
I know. I mean, it's not insult. It's been trolling.
It's been trolling. You're actually trolling them,
especially the Hohwe MP.
Oh, if I yesterday Efo came begging us for a visa to attend our.
Then he went to HEPS.
He said he went to HEPS. Imagine. Then you want to compare that with Mali.
Somebody said they couldn't be located first 300 schools again. Anyway, let's go on.
But Roland, I am a member of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, and our committee deals with the Auditor General's report. Roland, when you come to my office, I have about 15 very voluminous books, and these are just the reports for the year 2024 that we are currently dealing with as a committee. Every state institution, ministries, departments, all of these things are captured. And Roland, when you go into the details, you would weep for this country, because the level of infraction, the misappropriation, procurement violations, and abuse of public funds across all levels, across departments, across agencies, it breaks your heart. And Roland, some of the violations are so reckless that one would want to demand instant justice if this were part of our laws. Because for some of them, even without any legal background or without taking the person through any legal process, you would conclude by what you have seen in the audit report. Let me give you an example. When we were considering the report for Ministry of Communication,
Sam George's place?
Sam George's ministry,
okay.
But at the time he wasn't the minister, because we are considering the 2024 reports now. Yeah. And I have copies of the report here. Roland, there was a company called Smart Infraco.
Absolutely.
This company was contracted by government to do some work, some revenue mobilization. The company did not, or they failed to pay government about $6 million that was due us. Yeah. But that same company was awarded another contract, and government rather paid them for no work done, in addition to what they failed to account for. So you look at this level of misappropriation, abuse of public funds. As a committee, when we go into the issues, and let me explain how Public Accounts Committee works. When we invite those responsible for these infractions and we question them, after that, we present our reports to Parliament. When Parliament adopts the report is then sent to the Attorney General, and they begin the criminal prosecution. Roland, when you go to our courts, the truth is that there are several cases of financial malfeasance before our courts, but the processes are simply too slow. They are slow. So what we have done as a committee is that in some instances, we've been able to get people to pay back, so at least we recover. So I recall there was a particular incident where a gentleman who worked with the Foreign Affairs Ministry worked with one of the embassies, withdrew monies meant for the embassy.
Diverted.
He diverted. I mean, he took the money, he spent it, he admitted, when they appeared, he was asked to pay, and so he has been giving time and he's been paying. But beyond that, and so we've done a lot of recoveries. There were people who were being paid even after they left the service. There were some teachers who left or abandoned posts 24 months, 36 months, and yet somebody sat and was still validating them. I sat here.
And the money was going where?
What? Into other people's pockets. So you can't just say. Recently, there was one where the person died. The person died. The department, and that's where you heard my ranking, the Honorable Atamels, asked whether or not the heads did not attend the funeral of the person. So your staff died, the heads attended the funeral, and yet at the end of every month, somebody was able to validate for those people to be paid, or for that person to be paid.
Posthumous salaries.
For several months. So the question is, who is receiving the money? And it happens. I recently sat here and I said, even in my constituency, a secondary school, somebody had left post as headmaster. And for several months, he was still being paid. He was still being validated.
Who was collecting the money?
I personally walked into the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, GS office, and I told him that, but why are you people behaving this way? And calls were being made. And so the question is, who was responsible for the validation? And how do you validate somebody who had abandoned posts? And these things are happening across every sector. And so the corruption that we abhor, the corruption that we talk about, has become a culture across all levels in most of these institutions. And so I am happy that President Mahama is interested in having specialized court. Because you see, these cases, when you are dealing with financial crime, it demands a certain level of meticulousness. It demands a certain level of forensic accuracy, because you would want to get into the details and make sure that everybody who is responsible is punished. And so when you go to court today and the case is adjourned, sometimes 2-3 months later, they come back, they demand for one document. Before you realize, people walk away with their, and you know, the law, I mean, the law of natural justice, you have to give hearing to the people. So even where the person admits that, yes, indeed, I have taken this, or this happened under my watch, you still have to take the person through the legal processes. So I am happy that we'll have specialized courts. What this will do is that you have courts that will fast track the prosecutions, because public interest eventually dies when, after several months or years, they are not hearing anything about the issues any longer. Look, the people of Ghana, as much as they voted for bread and butter, they are also interested in ensuring that those who looted state funds, those who stole from the state public resources, they must be punished. And if you have these specialized courts, it will help in getting us to fast track the processes and get those who were responsible for the looting, those who were responsible for the mismanagement, the misappropriation, the gross and plain stealing from us as taxpayers. Those people must be punished. The fast track court, for me, is the way to go. But Roland, let me also say that when we are talking about fast track courts or specialized courts, and they begin to do their work, I have come to the understanding that when you look at our legal system, many of these people, the accused, they engage in all sorts of gimmicks just to delay. So they go to court, place an injunction, file an application today, and all of that. And so even when they know that eventually they are guilty and they will be pronounced guilty, they engage in all sorts of tricks. Look at the case of this is not a financial, necessarily a financial issue, but look at what the former Chief Justice, for example, is doing. Knowing very well that she was going to go, she was guilty, but today she will file here, send this application here, place an injunction here, and all of that, and all sorts of gimmicks. We have started seeing that even in the case of the NSA. Today I'm reading from one of the news portals that one of the accused has been diagnosed of some mental ailment or what have you. Because the first day they went to court, the person went to seek for what? An excuse duty. Using being indisposed or not feeling too well. As we don't need to be tolerating some of these things. Even when we have to trial people in absentia, convict them, we have to do it. Let the court be sitting even every single day. Take this case, go on it. Dr. Zato and Co can come to TV3 and rant and rant and rant and rant, but the court should not pay attention to them. Let us ensure that when we take a case, we successfully prosecute those cases. That is the only way we can win the public confidence. And that is why some of us are so angry with the OSP. Roland, since the OSP was established by Dr. Zato's government, which successful prosecution
since the OSP did what for
was established by the Akufo-Addo government, Dr. Zato's people.
They did what?
What have they ever been successful in any of their prosecutions? Tell me. Maybe I'm not following the news. Maybe I'm too focused in Ketunov. Maybe I'm only listening to radio stations in Ketunov. Maybe they are not following the news. Tell me, have they been successful with any prosecution? So today, they will come and raise your hopes. We are chasing Kenoforiata, and then they will later be posting pictures of Kenoforiata in Washington and all of that, and you don't even know what is happening to the case. Today, they start one new case, pick it, and drop. What kind of Konongo Kaya is that? Konongo Kaya, you can't do it. You start it, you won't let another person also handle it and all. So Roland, the specialized court is the way to go. And I want to commend President Mahama for his commitment and dedication to the fight against corruption. I believe the specialized courts will help us fast-track the prosecution of the criminals who looted public funds. Thank you.
In some circles, yesterday I was reading on social media, was it particularly a post from someone on Facebook? It says that we pretend that we're dealing with corruption. For example, he just even made reference to the OSP case in which the Deputy Attorney General, for example, says that I haven't received a docket. So far, we haven't as a department. Now, subsequently, you have cases that will be filed just to delay, etc. And really, the perpetrators are not brought to book. What's your own dealing with this subject matter of corruption and then those malfeasance instant cases that are recorded in the Auditor General's reports across board?
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying good morning to you, Professor Michael Kwese-White. You are the new boss of SIGA, State Interest and Governance Accountability. And this...
He's new, he's been there for a long time.
For a while. Why are you now greeting him?
Maybe he's coming to him, I'm sure. Please don't attack Dr. Zato. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I know your hands are full, and this directly falls to what you should want to do and you should be doing. I wish you I wish you all the best. And I know that if there's anybody who can help to get this SOE sector cleaned, and then you have what it takes. So just know that there are people out here who are cheering for you to succeed, and I know you will succeed. I also want to state that this idea by the president to establish this specialized course is one of the smartest decisions the president has taken to combat corruption in the public sector. It's a smart decision, it's a good decision, and it's a decision whose time has come. So I want to applaud His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana for this move and for this initiative. It's a great idea. Because if you look at this country, our corruption architecture or infrastructure is divided into two. There is that corruption which we associate or we give to what? Politicians. Edem Bana and his people. And then there's that corruption which we give to what? Public servants.
I don't understand. Edem Bana, but you're also a politician as well. So.
He's an MP, sitting MP.
Okay.
He knows, even he has not protested.
I'm not protesting.
I will do
that in
I'm saying politicians. I said politicians. Okay, let me say active politicians.
Okay, so you're saying politicians and
politicians,
then public
when it comes to
servants.
corruption, politicians are treated differently from public servants.
Like in Oforiata, the way we're treating.
Exactly. When the corruption or alleged acts of corruptions involves a politician's we raise it high. We maximize it. We exploit it. We go every extent to talk about it and to try to bring that person to justice. As the Salih would say, we literally stand on the rooftops and we announce it. We talk about it. It is because we hope to achieve a certain political objective by that. So for instance, if the person is in office, if the person is removed, somebody will benefit from it. If the person is not in office, then that political party gets the name as being corrupt. So we hope to get another one. The opposition or the government in power hopes to get some political patronage from that particular aspect. So once the corruption involves a public official, a government appointee, we raise it. But when it comes to corruption involving workers or ordinary public servants in the state-owned enterprises and the ministries, we tend not to treat it as the same way as we treat those in the public sector. And that is why you've seen these gargantuan amounts of money, these things going waste. And that's why you've seen that over the years, we've come to treat this, especially the Public Accounts Committee, as a football match. We use it as a blame game and then nothing happens. So that's what I'm saying, that we need as a country, in fact, sometimes our culture and our utterances seems to what? Legitimize the stealing of public servants. Everybody they chop from in workplace. We see that. Sometimes you can even help somebody get a job. And the person says, oh, I want to be posted here. I'm like, why? Oh, here you can get something to chop. Like, but wherever you go, you get your salary. Like those instances, sometimes it becomes, you even regret trying to help somebody get a job because after the person has got the job, the biggest test becomes where the person wants to be posted to, where the persons want to be. So we've come to general, even national service personnel. You still don't tell you, oh, they want to go somewhere where they can get something to chop. When we all know what your allowances and that things to be. So over the years we've done this. So if we have come with a system, wait. The question is, how did we get here? And sometimes I wonder, how come some of these major financial malfeasances to come? One, there are reasons. One of them is the late appointments of what I call boards of directors. As we speak, there are CEOs that have been working for about 10 months. They don't have board of directors. They don't have. So by the time the board comes, literally what they are left with is to approve things that the CEO has, because the CEOs are working, the director generals are working. We have turned this corporate CEO governance on its head, because ideally it should be you have the board of directors, then the board of directors there to supervise and oversee what the CEO is doing. But in Ghana, we've turned it around. Almost always we appoint the CEOs, they go there. So by the time, in fact, later the board chairman, the board of directors have to learn the job from the CEO, whom they are supposed to supervise. So the guy you're supposed to supervise is now telling you about the job you are coming to do. So we've tried to do that. Secondly, we've over-politicized state-owned enterprises. Everybody just thinks that once my government comes to place, these state-owned enterprises are like a big fat buffet. Let's just go and eat. And sometimes you have, in fact, as at now, if you talk to any CEO or those who've gone out, that becomes their biggest headache. Every party member is trooping there. And they all think they have a legitimate right, one, to a job there, and not only any job, to a very good job there, because their government have come. And over the years, we have accepted this culture, and it's one of those that is festering what we are doing. Thirdly, as I said, our culture of as Ghanaians has also helped us very well. So for me, that's why, again, I'm going back to the point. I am happy that we are doing these prosecutions. But there's something that Adam said that was really important. These people have learned to game the justice system in Ghana.
You mean they found a way around
of gaming it. So as I said, you can delay it, hoping that your government will come into power and issue $7 prosecutes.
Okay.
Reward you when you go and sit down. We've seen that happen. And I'm happy you give the examples. I'm just agreeing with you.
Do you think the same thing that's happening in the OSP Kenoforiata case?
Because
they've been filing?
Exactly. I'm saying the whole criminal justice system, people have
So the Kenoforiata one is an instance?
The whole criminal justice system, people have found a way to game the system. And they game it hoping for two things to happen. One, either this government goes out, my party comes, give me another prosecute. And we've seen that. We've seen that people, those who have gamed the system, have benefited. We've seen that. And so nothing prevents others from trying to play a similar trick.
You say game, eh?
Yeah, they game the system by saying that, look, okay, let's do this, let's delay until one day this party goes, then we can come and say it was political witch hunt, and if we have friends, they'll give us 60-40 and we'll leave. So that's one. So that's why, again, I'm happy that these courts are there. Two, I want to appeal to the AG and the government, precisely because of this gaming system. They should also look for a way of retrieval. We've tried name and shame on Public Accounts Committee, it doesn't work. We've tried, what was this that Leve was doing? Surcharging, that's not work. For me, the government should prepare for a deal. You are a chief director, you are accused of wasting 2 million cedis. The government should outright, and sometimes because we hide this thing so we don't make them public, then people think that we are doing this. As part of the legal process, the government can come outright. We will take the money back with, let's say, 20% interest for anybody. Bring all the money you are, so if it's 1 million cedis, bring that money, 1 million cedis, with 20% interest outright. Then, as a punitive measure, we will reduce your rank by 2 or 3.
That is if you are still in active service.
If you are still in active service. So, for instance, if you're a chief director and you are accused of stealing 1 million cedis, now we say it's outright. You just make that outright. That's a trivial. Pay the 1 million one. Pay 20% interest or 30. How much is that? You can do look. Must add it, and then we say if you're a chief director, we will reduce you to what's the two ranks below chief director.
They have
assistant, deputy.
It's 3 knots. Even for a director, it's
exactly. So we'll do that. So that means
a director itself, but you'll be.
So we'll say that once you've done this, then what that means is that the government gets all its money back. It gets an interest on the money based on interest rate, and then finally you are punitively punished. And we need this, because again, it makes sure that we quickly get the money back to do the things we want to do. The big push program, 24-hour economy, and all the pay nurses, pay doctors, and we quickly get the money back. Then we also then make sure that punitively you get it. And these are the things that we say, for if you also took the money and went and bought a house, we could then retrieve the house. My point is that we shouldn't just be narrow focused on caging people, because when we do that, they have smart lawyers, they have intelligent lawyers who understand the system. And this is, hey, if you're accused of stealing 10 million, that means you can get the best lawyer in town. You can get the best lawyer to defend you. And the best lawyer defending you will do that. So let's come up with this, or the retrieval system, the punitive system, and the reform of these structures. Once we do this, we try to bring a lot of sanity into the SOE system. Alfred, whenever the government of Ghana goes to the IMF or for a bailout, Roland, whenever the government of Ghana goes to the IMF or for a bailout, check. The SOE sector is almost always one of the biggest culprits that drives us there. All the time. And all governments. Mostly it's the debt, the unsustainable debt there that drives us there. So that's what I'm happy that, as I said, SIGA was brought to try to do some of these cleanings. They are doing some job, they are doing some good job without instances. Let's come up with these courts and make sure that we also do the trivial. If we do all these things, then we'll begin to bring sanity into that sector. When we do, we need to make sure that people abide by the principles of their office. People who say accountability to your job, accountability to the law, accountability to your profession begins to work. And then we make sure that people are held up. Finally, ministers should stop that. Why do ministers accompany these people to the Public Accounts Committee? Why?
No, they are the heads.
No. You see, that is part of it. That is part of it. Because ministers, they are afraid that if we don't accompany these people there, they will expose me.
Oh no, but these are even new ministers.
So, can I explain?
I am saying that it should stop. I'm saying, Minister, remember.
So you are saying that those
can I explain
who undertook the act of omission should go and answer.
The point I'm making is that there's something called answerability. These people are called to answer for their professional conduct. They don't need a political cover. They don't. It's answerability. You are an accountant. Explain to me why you are paying a headmaster who is dead for 3 years. You don't need a minister to cover for you. So ministers, see, I'm saying that there is this, of course, there's this symbiotic relationship between ministers, policymakers, and bureaucrats, policy implementers, and they do it. But this is not here. I want to, once it comes to Public Accounts Committee, no minister should go and cover anybody. Let them go and face the music themselves. Because see, mostly what happens is that the ministers understand what goes on the Public Accounts Committee, and is their friends. Adam is an MP. Adam, he's also a member of the committee. He understands it. If it's like is a minister, he understands the rules of the game. So he's able to help this to navigate that committee without facing the necessary actions. Don't do this. Don't annoy Solo. He will do this. Don't. As for Walker, he talks a lot, so do it. As for this, they give them how to survive in that committee.
So just cajoling each other.
Cajoling each other before they realize it becomes so. Ministers should stop that. Let the people go. They are professionals.
Today people are loving you, pal.
I did my studies on associate sector. Let them go and do that so that we can see them be held accountable. But no matter what we do, we should work, continue on the work of Domiloville. We should continue on the work of whatever they're doing and make sure that the SOE sector is clean up. If that sector is clean up and we are able to do these retrievals, the finances of this country will be far better.
Fantastic. You are being loved today. I agree with Dr. There's only few people disagree with you. They said today, Baumia, do you go to Baumia a lot? Because people seem to be mentioning you and Baumia. But Solo, the reality is that there's a deliberate action that is undertaken by those who serve in public as well as political office. They know that I've undertaken acts of omission, or I may be asked to be responsible for actions under my supervision. So, for example, this Ken Oforiatta case. Come in, answer questions. It's a problem. You bring an issue and all that. Is it a show of us as a country being committed, or just trying to make efforts to play to the gallery publicly, locally and internationally, that we're tackling corruption?
So we are playing to the gallery. We are not tackling the issues. And I believe that the president's gesture, this action of calling the Attorney General, the Auditor General, to establish courts to deal with this matter will be the last stop to this playing to the gallery. Other than that, see how we play our politics in this country. I'm happy Eden raised an issue with the Auditor General's report in 2024. Remember last week or last 2 weeks, I raised the issue of Esla Usu.
Last week. Last 2 weeks as
well. Last 2 weeks, yes. If you go to page 324 of the Auditor General's report, it is clear that deliberately, the woman deliberately decided not to go for the $6 million. And do you believe for a moment that she would allow the smart Infranco to get away with $6 million without her taking part? The moment this matter was raised, the next moment she wants to go in for the General Secretary position of the New Patriotic Party. Go under the cover of political banner. So that when you begin to go after her, what you then mean is that, because she wants to be the General Secretary of a political party.
So he's being
political witch hunt. You see, they think they are so smart. You go to the airport, the scholarship secretariat, someone messes the place up. The next moment, the person finds himself in the Parliament of Ghana under the banner of our political protection. You understand? Ken Oforiatta, and I've said time without, how many times did I not say on your studios here that the earlier you people sack this OSP, he is part of the cabal. It is either this administration has deliberately decided to also shorten the people of this country, that is why they are keeping this OSP, or if they want to show to the people of this country that they mean business, they must get him out. When I was listening to Sremsai, I felt so sad that the Attorney General Department has called for the docket of Mr. Ken Oforiatta, and the OSP is not forthcoming.
Oh, so yesterday I had Sami Dakon, who is the director for strategy. Yes. And he said that they are just working. It's a normal thing. They are no.
Sami Dakon must keep quiet. We are serious as a country.
Keep quiet.
If he's collecting salary, he must keep quiet. They do not know the enormity of the problems we are dealing with. As we speak, and here let me send this message to the Minister of Roads and Highways, together with the Finance Minister. Contractors are dying. My family members who through no fault of theirs have worked, gone to borrow, are now dying. Mr. President, take a critical look at that and begin to pay contractors in this country. Else, you will begin to count corpses, majority of whom are your friends. And they are not being paid because of some of these silly acts. Money is meant for the state. We get them to dissipate it. $6 million. Do you know what he could have done to the economy of this country? And the woman is talking about, she got a nerve to write a long letter to come and tell us how she's going to contest for the position of the General Secretary, position of the New Patriotic Party. That is being soft, being loose. Look, between 2018 to 2024, we have lost 81 billion Ghana cedis. Now, if we're going to take today's rate of, say, on the average 12.5, it means Ghana has lost close to $6.5 billion. But that is not the reality of the day, because each year has its own interest rate, exchange rate. When I did the computation year by year, let's say in the year 2018, we lost 3 billion. Is that not the case? That year, the average interbank rate was 4.8. If you did it systematically or year by year, we had lost close to $10 billion. How much did we go to the IMF to go and borrow?
3 billion.
And even that one, they start get the payment, yearly affair. You have to go and describe how your grandmothers were before every year. They will come and give you something.
You are meeting indicators.
And that is describing your grandmother, how your grandmother ate, how you people fed before they even give it to you. Now we have all these monies here, and every year we put camera on civil servants who are happy to tell us how they stole. I mean, I don't want you to be beautifying or glorifying our irregularity. When they want to steal,
stealing.
It's stealing. They have stolen our money.
Obey we are.
Obey we are Yesika. Obey we are Yesika. And they are building everywhere. And look, we have set time with that number. The United Party, that let's do only lifestyle audit. It will be enough. And I don't believe that it's complicated.
What do you mean by lifestyle audit? Somebody has his building, has his four-wheel
No,
drive.
we know everybody's salary. That is why the country must be developed, structured in such a way that the system itself will help you to acquire mortgage. If you are doing our things right, you don't need to go and steal money from the state to build, and that you can go and assess mortgage. That's what is done in any civilized economy. If you want to buy a car, you should be able to go to your bank, and your bank will grant you a loan because you are working. And at the end of every month, then it is deducted from source. What the system we have created here is that you have to go and steal to go and buy. So it also calls for the reforms in our systems, how we structure economy in such a way that there will be advances to public servants. But there is no doubt that the public servants in this country are stealing from us. That will raise an issue. It's very important that when you send someone somewhere, every day, directors or people in charge of postings, they are under pressure. When you send this person to this department, say, no, I'm not going. Why? Because there is no money. Hey, have you put anybody there to go and steal? No, even national service. I remember my time when we were going to do national service. A friend of mine.
When did you do national service?
I did my national service at KMA. I was at the development control.
Kumasi.
Yes, I was.
Are you big Kizai guy?
Yeah, of course. I went to KMA. I said this morning, Edem has created a lot of problems for me.
That's why you people
Mauli
name
is the
the
best
party,
school. You see,
United
the president of the Old Boys Association of Prempeh College is on my neck. Why would I allow this thing to pass? That Mauli is better than Prempeh College. What I told you right now is that he went to a secondary school. I went to a college. So
and I went to a junior seminary.
I went to a school.
I went to a junior
you went to a school. I went to a college. And Saturday I can't come because we are commissioning a 4-unit bedroom. Look, old boys of my year group.
United Party is commissioning.
No, it's an old boy. United Party will do better things. If we were in power by now, these people who have stolen this money, they will be working by now. By now, they will be on their way to the independence.
But this time you would have been questioning the OSP on Ken Oforiatta.
We would have sacked him. He has no business being there.
He has to be sacked?
The office itself was created somewhere 2018. Is that not the case? Now, one of his mandate is to go to investigate corruption and corruption-related offenses, and then make sure he retrieves funds meant for the state to us. Is that not the case? Ever since his office was established, we have expended close to $1 billion Ghana cedis. He uses bulletproof.
No, he applied for it. I'm not sure they bought it for him.
Which one is he using now? Go to the offices and go and see the luxurious car they are doing. How much has he been able to retrieve for the state? How much? Tell me ever since he came. You tell me.
You are making claims. So you are claiming that he all the cases he started, he hasn't come.
Let me tell you, if you want
he
to.
Hasn't complete.
But how can he be appointed by for Nana Akufo-Addo, sworn into office by Nana Akufo-Addo, sworn to Nana Akufo-Addo, promised to Nana Akufo-Addo, you think you? That is why Nana Akufo-Addo can go and stand somewhere and tell you that Abane go here, because he knows the men are there to protect his interests.
You're making claims so that his position.
I am telling you the reality of the day. I have set time with that number that it will not be in the interest of this administration and the Ghanaian populace. Our democracy risk dying if something monumental does not happen to the corruption that we witnessed in the last administration. A critical case alone, we are only dealing with the Ministry of Communication. Because of this matter, Smart Infraco, last 2 weeks, Parliament, your committee, they were supposed to meet the communications ministry. I hardly go to parliament. I stopped everything that I was going to do to go to parliament, only to be told when I got to parliament that DS have been deferred. When is it going to reappear? They don't know. I said, Jesus Christ. I want to listen and for the information of those at NITA. If anybody wants to shorten this country, I have my documents.
NITA?
Nobody born of a woman must try to shield anybody because pure TV has taken place.
What happened at NITA?
Because NITA,
allegedly,
the e-government data, the data house, they gave it to that company. In fact, that company is owned by our brother from Nigeria. No problem about that. It's ECOWAS. I don't have a problem. But one company called Ascend Digital, came to this country and opened 3 special purpose vehicle companies: Kenny GVG, Smart Infraco, and Next Generation. Kenny GVG, he took them to NCA. And they gave them that whooping contract, that juicy contract, that roll. If they gave you that contract, I'm not sure this morning I'm sitting here. At least. They gave it to Kenny GVG. My senior coursemate, Franklin Kujo, has been fighting on this severally. Sometimes he wants to get high blood pressure. I said, Franklin, take it easy. This country, if you don't take it, they will kill you young. Because we know the truth, but speaking the truth is bitter. From there, he came to NITA and took this contract for them. They are supposed to pay 5 years. The first year is $2 million. Successive years, $1 million, deliberately.
Is it?
And 33 to look, you can even read for them this year. Non-payment of yearly advance, $6 million. And the person that supervised this ESLA is running route. Nobody wants to touch her. Because we have created a situation. Look, the people in Isawam, we are not better than them.
Do you think the courts will resolve some of these?
They have to. They ought to. If they are not corrupt, they ought to resolve these matters. And it is in the interest. Look, the other time I was telling you about the ordeal of a circuit court judge. I've forgotten her name. She wrote a very beautiful piece. When I read the piece,
you were moved.
I shed tears. That, I mean, sometimes when she's going to work, she has to sit on Okada. The office that she says there's nothing to write home about. We need these monies to
Second
make
court judge?
second court judge. A beautiful woman. How many of them will do that? That she doesn't even have any protection, security. That you go and do this enterprise, you are jailing people, you are doing all this, and you are exposed to the public. She's not being attended to because this money, the money that is supposed to be used to better her lot, has been taken by these people who are always on TV giving us beautiful nonsense. They explain things, and you are like, hey, if Ghana was your company, was that the way you were going to use the resources in the country? So I believe that the call by the president to establish fast-track court deal with this matter is good, but it is the implementation.
Specialized courts.
Whether or not those that the president met with the president. You see, the president may have very good intentions. He means to deal with the issues. But the president cannot be the alpha and omega, be omnipotent everywhere. He would delegate. And it is the delegation that always brings these problems. Let us take this country at heart. Let us see it as our own business, and that whether or not we will survive depends on all of us. And that if we mean business, if you want to deal with the millions of contractors who are dying in their homes because they are not being paid, then the root cause is the leakages and the slippages happening with our public sector. And that once we seal them, there will be enough money in the system to deal with the matters.
Adam, across the table, or just around the table, there's the agreement that the president has the commitment.
Yes.
You link that to oral. And then now we have this with AG, OSP, Ken Oforiatta, all these disagreements.
Just to give you...
How do we resolve that?
Roland, just to give you
an overview.
And our cherished viewers an overview. Between 2020 to 2024, let me give you year-on-year comparative analysis of how much was lost to corruption as reported by the Auditor General. In 2020, we lost over 12.8 billion. 2021, 17.4 billion, meaning it increased. 2022, 15.1 billion. 2023, 8.7 billion. 2024, 18.4 billion.
That was election year.
Election year. 18.4. And when you look at the breakdown,
election year.
And I have here a graphical representation
And check 2022.
of the irregularities.
12
12
billion.
billion. So you check the election.
So the next one, 2021.
2021.
Then the increase to 17
2021 is 17.4 billion. Is here. 2022, 15.1 billion. 2023, 8.7. And 2024, 18.4. And I have a
Election
graphical
2024.
representation.
Just last year.
Just last year. I have the graphical representation of the irregularities. The ones that came in terms of contract sums and all of that. Roland, as a country, we need to do something about corruption. We need to. Because it is what will consume all of us, consume the entire state, consume our democracy. Like you said, we are before the IMF. How much are we even asking for?
3 billion.
3 billion. Look at the challenges that we have across sectors. Non-payment of salaries to people that have been employed. What is the problem? Previous government employed them because they didn't have money to pay them. They promised them, left them on the payroll, and government has now given clearance before we are going to pay them. But how much is it as compared to what we are losing? People must be made to face the wrath of the Ghanaian people when it comes to issues of corruption. To a large extent, I agree with Doc on the fact that maybe the ministers should not be appearing before the committee. But currently, that is what the standing orders are, because it is the ministry you are inviting. So when you invite the ministry, they will bring.
They have to come.
That's what I'm saying. That
because they bear the oversight responsibility.
I'm giving you a point.
Yes.
So they will come with the agency. So, for example, when Dr. Mark Oliver Kevo, the head of NITA,
yes,
appeared before us,
yes,
and was answering the questions, at the time the infractions happened, and I want to place on record, he was not the one in charge. But he was answering for the institution. So tomorrow, if TV3 is invited to answer for something that happened 20 years ago on the morning show, you may not be the one on the show at the time, but you are representing the institution. So when Dr. Kevo came and gave us insights into what had happened, some people who probably, for want of better word, did not understand what happened, thought that it happened under his tenure. But he was appointed only a few months ago. Those who were in charge, maybe what we should be advocating for is that if you were the one in charge at the time the thing happened,
and even you're not in office,
and you are no more in office, you should be the one. Absolutely. So, for example, instead of Honorable Sam George, it should have been Esla also sitting there. It should have been the head of NITA and the NPP sitting there to defend or to speak.
Or even Ken Oforiatta being brought to the jurisdiction.
So all these issues, like I'm saying, all of us, as I sit here today, I'm a member of parliament. I want to see an OSP that is working, but unfortunately, Roland, it appears as though the OSP is playing games. I asked a simple question. They should come out and tell us. I know they are watching. That which successful prosecution since its establishment, and like he said, Solo said, look at the amount of money that has been allocated to that office. They have staff that are being paid. How many people have they prosecuted? What have they retrieved? Even Public Accounts Committee, I can give you a number of cases where we have retrieved money for the state, even though we are not prosecutors. Public Account, we have retrieved money for the state. And the OSP, Special Purpose Vehicle, set up to fast-track prosecutions, has been extremely slow, crawling when it comes to prosecutions. But like I said on your show the other day, I have confidence in the AG.
And the OSP.
I have confidence in the AG. I cannot speak for the OSP. I have confidence in Dr. Ayini and his team. And I know the cases they are dealing with now, Ghanaians will get justice. Justice in terms of getting people to return what they looted and people being punished for crimes against the state.
Okay. Zato, how do we link this with the public opinion and the expectation, and then also what the OSP and Ken Oforiatta and all that need to do?
One of the things we have not done so far with our public accounting system is that we say organization A has spent this amount of money. That this headmaster, I want to use the example you gave, was being paid by, let's say, the school. We never mentioned who was doing the payments. If you have to pay, somebody has to sign, somebody signed. Who was signing? That's one of the things we do. And I think that maybe that is the accounting principle. Maybe in accounting, you are supposed to keep it dry like that. But we need a new form of accounting in this public sector. Don't say that my only school, for instance, paid a teacher who has been there for 3 years. No. Say, Mr. Edemagbana, who is the accountant at Mabuli School, paid this guy. Name and shame. Because when you hide it behind the school, then we don't know who is doing what. So my point is that I'm making a small recommendation to Public Auditor General. If that is not being done, let us know who in this sector is doing what. So that it becomes easier for us to put names and faces to the infractions. So we begin to know you are an accountant. Is this how you are supposed to do accounting? You are an auditor. Is this how you're supposed to do auditing? If we don't do that, then you go to Kolibu and say, oh, Kolibu has paid this amount of money for, let's say, a heating system. It has not been delivered. Now, I'm sitting here, I'm asking myself, who in Kolibu paid that money? But assuming it's different, assuming indirect, because you will see somebody signed the check. Assuming you tell us that it was Mr. A who signed that check for that payment, then we begin to know who to account about. Again, let's not bury.
Just to say, sometimes they do. For example, just an example, when you look at this year's, the 2024 Auditor General's report, under page 19, under National Service Scheme, they said, we noted that District Coordinator, Mr. Frederick Osei, collected rent, totaling 5,700 from 6 National Service personnel occupying the National Service Hostel in Tepa, but did not account for the money to the regional secretariat.
Thank you.
So sometimes
exactly. No, so it shouldn't be sometimes. It shouldn't be. It should be always, all the time. Now we know. Now we know the infraction.
And those are the people that shout the loudest about corruption.
Now we
collected rent from people you will not go and account.
Thank you for the help.
These are the things.
Let me continue. Now we know in this we know that it is this person. The person has a name. The person has a face. Then we can go after the person without smearing the whole organization. Because let's also face it, there are good people in some of these organizations. There are patriots in some of these organizations. Some of these people put the country above. Some of these country go and above for their country. Some of these people are committed to their profession. Some of these people do things for this country that they are not paid and they sacrifice. So when we don't try to do that, when we try to use a big brush just to make it look like all the people here are corrupt, all the people here are thieves, we are also forcing the patriots, the genuine ones, to join the bandwagon. But if we separate them, like separating the goats from the sheep, or like separating the wheat from the chaff, and we now say that there are some other good ones, we should do that. Secondly, I want to make another proposal to Auditor General. Sometimes, name the good ones, the committed ones. You can see them sometimes from the audit, that Mr. A probably had this opportunity to do this, or Mr. A, because of how good he or she did the work, it saves this organization this amount of money. Name them too. Name the good ones. Because some of them in the literature we refer to certain people called local heroes. The men and the women in the organizations who abide by the rules of the organizations, by the virtues of the organization, by the principles of their training, and sometimes that saves the organization's money. Also mention them in your audit, so that we can then know that this is, and these are the ones you should recommend for promotion. Recently, the IGP did that. The anti-robbery thing that happened. The IGP acknowledged that this man, you went above and beyond. You deserve promotion. He promoted them. So let's see a similar thing, because if in the public sector we are surrounded by people, bureaucrats and public servants, civil servants who are supposed to do their work, and we are saying that they are costing this country, and then we can find some there who refuse to take the bribe, who refuse to manipulate the numbers, who refuse to put the dead person there for 2 years, those people too need recommendation, so that later on the junior ones can see them as role models. They can blend, and that is how we build a better, a more professional, independent public service. Let's do both. Punish those who do wrong, and let's see that we are also praising those who do right. In that case, we can build a better and a stronger, independent, bureaucratic system.
All right. So, our conclusion right now.
So the problem is that...
What are the expectations?
The expectations are that they must go for the money that have been stolen. In fact, the situation was so worse under President Akufo-Addo and that of Mahmoud Bawumia. And I believe that Ghana must take a cue from that. And this takes me to a very sensitive area, Roland. that ever since we launched our new party, that's the United Party, we have seen a couple of individuals who, instead of coming up with any alternatives or why they think that our party will not survive, have resorted to cursing Mr. Alan Chebati. They are cursing him openly. He will die, he will do this, he will do that. We don't have any problem because they themselves...
Is that what's happening?
No, there is a guy...
No, Roland, Abba. He's telling no, don't say it. No, don't do that.
Oh, let me
the
do
guy
it.
is telling you mention Dr. Zato.
No, it's okay. No, please. Please don't.
No.
Oh, Zato, why do you want to take the time?
I'm not taking your time.
So you are not party.
Mention Dr. Zato, is that what is happening?
No, he said people from the MPP. So that's what I'm asking. And I know that that's why I was asking.
Yeah, so
you are both from the UP tradition.
One chairman.
Anyway, I withdraw, Dr. Zato, I withdraw the name.
One chairman Buga, we have heard your cases on Alan Chebati, but I can assure you that you yourself represent case.
Dr. Zato, do you know Chairman Buga?
Chairman Buga himself is a case unto himself. But the truth of the matter is that if Chairman Buga has any case, he must direct that case onto Nana Akufo-Addo, who supervised this thievery, this corruption from 2018 to 2024 that we have experienced close to 81 billion cedis stolen from the public sector without him doing anything. If they have any case, they must stop insulting Mrs. Chamante that she's a Jezebel, she's this, and focus on those. Because
he did that.
Oh, they are doing. In fact, they are insulting everybody. But you see, when they have no answers to what you are doing, they resort to that. But we want to assure them that the UP has come to stay, and we are going to help in getting this country rid of these corrupt people who today, this one, you go to the offices, they are there. This year, they are stealing. It's not going to end. They will continue to steal till we take drastic measures. That is why I agree with the president that he must give the Attorney General, the Auditor General, and the courts the KPIs so that the country can still re-establish its as it were positive mindset towards the judiciary and also our state institutions. And that's the only way we can come out of where we are now.
I have a couple of comments, and this one looks quite interesting. So this one is coming from Michael Asari, who says, the people in office, as at the time, will travel out of the country once they go into opposition. Once they are no longer in power, finding them then becomes extremely difficult. Look at the current case of Ken Oforiatta. He's there. Nobody can do anything to him. What the government must do is, before they leave office, their passports must be seized. And then we need to make the government office unattractive so that people will be willing to work. People who will be willing to work there will be more serious. All right. As copied. Okay. And this one is coming from a lawyer. It says, as a defense attorney, I can tell you that prosecution is no child's play. To prove beyond reasonable doubt entails a lot. Take the work of Ora, for instance. There were credible information as well as idle gossip sent to the preparatory team. To build a credible docket, you need weeks and months of investigation. If prosecution were that easy, Dr. Domelevo, as board chair of IOCO, would have pushed IOCO to recover a chunk of loot by now. As far as I'm concerned, we need to support the OSP to deliver on its mandate. Let's stop launching attacks on the OSP. Where it's coming from? Can I mention your name? Lawyer. Let me know so that I mention your name attached. And then Stephen Penn says, Stephen Penn is texting us from one. He said, today, Dr. Zato is speaking like a patriot, all in his submissions. That is how we should build Ghana together. Kudos to him, Dr. Zato. Every day, when he speaks like a patriot. What are you insinuating? Okay, so that is, like I said, you sent the comment in support of the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Special Prosecutor himself. Lawyer Leonard Sedjo in support of Kisi Ajabing, the message this morning. And we have more comments coming through. Okay, so and then Moses also says that he said, what did I do to Dr. Zato? Yeah. And then BT Sly also says same. All right, I have to know. Anyway, Adam. There are key issues that we need to take. Okay, so we have Adam Sananu the Citizen Movement for Corruption. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining anti-corruption crusade as well. And then so far, the special courts, is that the way to go?
Absolutely. As some of you may know, over the last at least year, I have been emphasizing the need for special courts. Indeed, with the new hat I wear as chairperson of the AUABC, there are some countries in Africa I visited, especially Kenya, earlier this year, where they have special courts. They have as many as 12 special courts on anti-corruption, with a target of discharging cases within 6 months. So these courts meet daily. So the special is not just about the timing where they're meeting daily, it's also about the additional training within the sector and specialization so that the prosecutors, the judges understand the issues, and so you can dispense of cases rapidly. So I'm absolutely delighted at the decision of the president. I'm delighted at his action, the fact that they're going to draw this conclusion, and we are looking forward to its implementation. The other countries, Zambia too has done this in the past. I'm hoping we can learn from their experiences. I think it's a progressive decision that will contribute significantly once executed.
Now, the subjects of the courts also mean that they need to work rapidly. We've had fast-track high courts before, and so we've had some models that have been experimented with so far. If you have to relate that to how effective they have been and what the expectation of how effectively these will be, what will be your conclusions?
Well, the fast-track court, as was designated earlier, we looked at mechanization as a country. So what it was you put in equipment, but the rules of court, the administrative procedures did not change. So the courts were not sitting daily. You know, in our jurisdiction, what happens, you go to court today, they'll tell you, come back next month, if not next 2 months. It is the reason why the duration of our cases, minimum for such cases is 2 years, and at the peak 7 years. So we don't conclude cases before 2 years on average. Minimum 2 years to 7 years. That's a very long period. In that period, most citizens would have given up hope that we are serious about fighting corruption. So there's a distinct difference here. And in recent days, we've been looking at the National Ethics and Anti-Corruption Action Plan, building on NACAP. And one of my key points was to emphasize that many lawyers confuse the issue of fast track with special courts. And so we should not use the term fast track because the mechanization did not appear to have worked effectively. So there's that kind of people are dissatisfied with the idea of fast track and the mechanization. That's not what we are talking about here. We are saying that the rules should change where they sit daily. So yes, mechanize, all right, have all the equipment, but the rules change so they are sitting daily on the same issue. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you know, within 6 weeks, 6 months, you can clear a case.
I see. All right. So can we win the fight with this?
It will only be one of the strategies in the gamut of strategies. It's not by itself the silver bullet or golden bullet or the panacea. We still need to have the COPO pass, Conduct of Public Officers Bill. We still need a comprehensive, anti-corruption bill where you have everything in one place so it's easier to identify what to use at which point. We still need to ring fence some funding for anti-corruption. We are losing $3 to $5 billion. Now, I think that the single most strategic space where if government were to invest today and to make sure that we bring down the billions we are losing, we'll see phenomenal resources available for development, is the sector of anti-corruption. And we ring fence some funding to make sure that we can promote, the recovery of monies, prevention of the losses, plug the holes. So the special courts is one of those things that will begin to send a certain message. But a little bit of improving the legal regime, lifestyle audits, illicit enrichment, reverse burden, things that would then make it easier, as well as the sanction regimes. And I would love something that also covers community sentencing. Let's not have to go and spend money on people in prison. Also, even the plea bargaining regime. I think a structured plea bargaining regime so that there's clarity on how we approach it, and it does not look like some people, perhaps the political elite, may benefit from certain plea bargain situations or out-of-court settlements.
All right. How would you rate the government's fight in relation to Operation Recover or Loot so far? Of course, headed by the AG. And then OSPs on the other hand and all the others.
Probably, I mean, I'm one of those who have always refrained from rating because I say, look, the sector, if you've been in, it's much more complicated than you think. But I would say I would give an above average.
Okay. So let me give the parameters then, since you're afraid to give 0 to 10.
Oh, certainly above 5. I would probably say 6.
6. Okay.
I would not get to 7 because I think that they need some time to go to get into the actual prosecution. And we always have that delayed lag in our space. What happens is this. It takes a long time to do the investigation. Make sure you have concrete evidence that you can take to court and have substantive prosecution that can lead to, rulings and sanctions. And so when you have a citizenry that's too eager and giving too much pressure, it's not really a good thing. My position has always been that the rights of people are at stake. Let's take our time. Let's give the AG time. It's in the same vein the AG should give the OSP time. I have always said that I believe that the SP and the people there are doing the best they can. We've not had a situation where ministers, presidents have been brought before any entity, For the first time in this country that has happened. I think that they are doing quite well. It's the time they need to make sure investigations are done right. So the evidence they are taking to court is substantive, is concrete, is the one that will get you the kind of rulings you want. And so let's not jump the gun. So I think that the AG is doing well. They are committed to doing what they need to do. Once they get into the prosecutions and are delivering, it will help with the indicators so that we are clear. And I also like the fact that the AG has been out there. I like the adoption of the style where as often as possible, you brief the citizenry. Some people say they are talking too much. I don't think so. I think that that's the way to go, to carry everybody along, to make sure the facts are there, to set the precedents that will ensure that those who think they can continue with impunity will change their minds.
All right. So far, you have monitored the back and forth and the public debate on the AG OSP subject matter. What's your own observation so far?
I think it's much ado about nothing. And I think sometimes it's about understanding process and practice. I'll tell you a story. The last time when President Mahama was was president, the previous time, at a point I was so disturbed by corruption, I said I was going to do a vigil against corruption at the Independence Square. And I wrote to the police. I was invited. At that time, the current IGP was the regional commander for Greater Accra. So at the regional police command, I was brought into a room with 7 policemen standing, 1 chair, and I sat. And they queried me about why I wanted to do this vigil. And I said I was so upset about the levels of corruption and what have you. And they said we had to go and ask permission from BNI. And I said, according to the law, no. This is my rights, our organization's rights, Citizens Movement Against Corruption. We don't need to have to go to BNI. Eventually, the regional commander then, who is now the IGP, asked their PRO to go to BNI and ask whether we had permission, etc. I thought this was just, confusing the issues. When I stepped out, I think a chief inspector, Sid, I remember his name, called me quietly to his office and said, gentlemen, this is a challenge. You are right that this is what the law says. But over the years, remember that the seat of government has been at the castle. The president has always been at the castle. So the Independence Square has always been considered a security zone. And over the years, the BNI have been responsible for guarding that space. So as a matter of tacit agreement between security agencies, we've always understood that if anything should happen in Independence Square, we go and ask the BNI to prevent any theft wars. So the regional commander and the team are not trying to frustrate you. They are just trying to say there are other things you may not know based on practice and process. Why am I saying that? In my understanding of the issue between the AG and the OSP, I think the OSP is just trying to do a very thorough job. I think the situation is that on the 13th of June when the AG wrote saying nominate people and add the docket. 3 days earlier, they had raided SNL and discovered information that they thought was substantive to even improving the case. So you had a very good case, and you see opportunity to make it an excellent case, plus more charges. And so if I were in leadership, and this is accountable leadership for me, I would say, oh, give me a few more weeks to add that as well, so that by the time we deliver the docket, which is what they did. So I really don't understand the whole baloo about they are taking too long. If Ken Ofri-Atta had arrived on the 2nd of June, the 4 cases they were going to interrogate him on, collecting the data on those 4 cases to finish the case would still have taken probably about 2 months. So my analysis tells me that this is much ado about nothing. I'm quite sure that by the end of the week, the OSP is going to provide that docket. At least that's what I understand. I think that all parties should have more understanding of the processes required. And I think it's a good thing when you have leadership that's intent of doing a thorough job, such that when we get to having to do the extradition, all questions are properly dealt with.
Thank you very much. Adam Senano is co-chair, Citizens Movement Against Corruption. And that brings us to a close on that subject of graft, anti-graft, and then going after those who flout regulations, embezzle, especially also all those that we can perhaps tease out of the various audit report of the Auditor General. And Adam, the subject matter of restoring Ghana's polluted water bodies, etc. What do you make of it?
Roland, the fight against Galamsey and the pollution of our water bodies by Galamsey and other illegal activities is a national security fight. In every jurisdiction, they have one form of security threat or the other against the survival of the state. In our case, corruption is one of the things that threatens the survival of our country. But even more threatening is this issue of Galamsey and the pollution of our water bodies, the pollution of the environment. Roland, I have been watching pictures and videos of water bodies, rivers, located along Galamsey regions or mining areas. And if those pictures and videos, the condition of the water does not scare you, then I don't know what to scare you any longer. Because water is so basic. Water. It's a basic necessity of life. And so to have your water bodies destroyed, polluted by groups of greedy people who are just looking for a means of survival or to satisfy themselves, it's a national security issue that all of us must join hands to fight against. Roland, what can we do? Government has over the past few months shown commitment to the fight against illegal mining, because we agree that today the biggest threat to our survival, the biggest threat to the survival of the environment, the survival of our water bodies is Galamsey, illegal mining. We have seen government showing enough commitment. People are being arrested, mining forest reserves that used to be captured by Galamseyers. The 9 areas that were declared as no-go areas, no-go zone for anybody, all those forest reserves have been recaptured or reclaimed by the government. But we still have a challenge with Galamsey. How do we deal with the situation? We have tried many things in the past. Community mining. We've spoken about alternative livelihood. I know NGOs and institutions that went to those Galamsey areas to provide training, skills training for the young people so that they will divert or they will stop Galamsey and all of that. But it's still, something is missing in the fight. It looks like all these things are really not working the way we want it to work. I believe that the solution is what President Mahama has already started implementing. Recently, he met all the CSOs, stakeholders, at the Flagstaff House and engaged them, briefed them. And the honesty of the president must be applauded. He told them the challenges in the fight and also the successes that we've talked so far, and asked for our support, collective support, to restore our water bodies. It will not happen in a day. It will not happen in a month, in a year. But we need to, it can happen. We should be able to reclaim our water bodies and ensure that they become safer for consumption. Roland, I believe the first thing we need to do in this fight against galamsey, one, is to take this issue of responsible community mining more serious. Because the mining is happening in communities. You cannot tell me that in the local communities where the mining is happening, chiefs, community leaders, the police in those districts do not know that people are entering those places with excavators and co. Because here is the case. Look, me, even as a member of parliament, when I'm driving into my constituency from Accra, the number of police checkpoints, the number of times they will stop you and want to even check what is in your car, and you are talking about excavator that is not pinned, that can be hidden in your pocket. So it should be possible that any new excavator entering into any district, with the collaboration of every stakeholder, if they are not collecting bribe on the way. So if I get an excavator being brought by Dr. Zato, I should know that Dr. Zato has license to do responsible mining, and he is headed to this particular community to go and do the mining. That's why DVLA is now registering these excavators to make it easier for tracking and all of that. But how is it possible that despite all these efforts, you still have people engaging in galamsey? Something is missing somewhere.
All right.
What I think we should do in addition to the community, this thing is what NIMOS is doing currently. Over the past few weeks and months, NIMOS has been extremely effective.
NIMOS has been?
NIMOS, extremely effective, extremely Roland. NIMOS has been extremely effective.
Has it reflected in
the water bodies? It is you don't see an immediate, because the pollution is such a way that you cannot see an immediate reflection of the work of NIMOS in the water bodies. But the actual result, the ultimate outcome, is what you see in the communities, how NIMOS has successfully reclaimed lands, reclaimed some reserves, and all of that. We need to commend the young people and plead that we must increase budgetary allocation to NIMOS and to the fight against illegal mining. Right. So that next year, hopefully, we should have some of the water bodies getting back to normal. But we are winning the fight.
Are we sounding like a broken record, so to speak, in the subject matter?
We are winning the fight. Let it be on record.
Currently, one of your competitors, competing media houses, is running a documentary on galamsey. If you hear it, you'll cry. There are two segments that I saw about young ladies using such unhygienic water for their monthly cycles. When you hear that part, you'll cry. There's also another part this morning I was saying about how nurses are running around with kufuor gallons to look for clean water for stitches, simple medical procedures. And we've heard the MD for Ghana Water complaining bitterly and seeking that amount of money. We have done, NIMOS is doing what they are doing. They should keep doing that. I have no solution to that. We've seen everything. But there's something that we've not done so far. Let's go after the money. Follow the money. Follow the money and follow the money. One. There are people we know that have done or that are doing galamsey. You've just made a point and you've taken the words out of my mouth. When you see a bulldozer, that bulldozer has I was making this point, has a number plate on it. That number plate can be traced to who registered it, right? If you take that name from DVLA, you can connect that name to a bank account or bank account for them, freeze that account. It's a very simple strategy. If we see your bulldozer in a place that is not supposed to be, we'll freeze their bank account. Let's freeze them, raise the money, and then let's give the money to professionals. Again, we've done all the politics we can do with this. We've done the NDC MPP politics. We've done it. Enough of it. It's time to bring in the professionals. I heard the EPA acting boss, Professor Nanama Bronclo.
Yeah.
And something tells me that if we freeze this money and we give this money to this woman, she'll get it done. What the men could not do, she'll get it done.
Yeah.
She's crying for resources. Because, and I'm saying, give it to her. In other words, give it to the professionals. Enough of the politicking around this. Enough of the political blame game. Enough of it. It is time to bring in the experts. It's time to bring in the GMA. It's time to bring in the EPA in particular. It's time to bring in the Water Resources Commission. It's time to do this. Secondly, it is time for the government to publish a comprehensive anti-galamsey document.
Like a strategy?
A strategy. Look, I know it's difficult. You see, the reason why governments not just don't want to put things on paper is that we will hold you accountable. But the moment you mention that by January you do this, everybody's watching to see whether
there will be benchmarks.
There will be benchmarks. But we need it, whether we like it or not. Let's get a very comprehensive cost it. I've heard the EPA boss, no, is it EPA or somebody talk about how much it will cost weekly or monthly if you have to clean these waters.
I think she's the same person. She
yes,
said
the last minister also said it. The money was huge. But the question is, we need that. Let the government come on and say, look, this is our comprehensive solutions to this. And then assign rules as benchmarks. So Water Service Resources Commission, this is your role. We want you to do this and this and this. EPA, do this. Then we can sit down. And where the government has done well, at the end of the day, we clap. We approve that, okay, for these particular indicators, you've met them. But for these ones, you've not met them. Why haven't you made it? What can be done? Unless and until because today if we ask you as a student, what is the government's policy response to galamsey? We don't have. So it looks like the work we are doing is patch. It's like quarter. Sure? We need something solid like that. And as I said, give money. Give money to the experts. Give money to the men and women whose jobs are not outlined so much to the political cycle, but who can sit down and say, damn the consequences, damn the political calculations, lives matter, and this is an existential crisis, and do it. Unless and until we do that, we'll keep coming back to this story, we'll keep coming back to this, and it will make us look like we are a failed state. We are not. We
need a strategy, he says, and we need to be comprehensive.
Absolutely.
Is there something we're doing now that we haven't done before? Because we brought in comprehensive technology. I remember we went to Accra International Conference Center, inaugurated the drones. They were massive. There was a whole office just around, if you're going to... I think the GIJ Road.
GIJ Road, yes.
This year's office.
I keep asking, where are those drones?
Yeah, so is that something that we
haven't
done
also another
before?
matter has to be investigated. The drones that we bought, where are they?
To fight galamsey.
To fight galamsey. We brought some equipment that they said could identify good. All those things we have done. We expended more than $200 million in Operation Vanguard in introducing a software called GalamStop. What happened to it? So there is much that we have to investigate. But the truth of the matter is that galamsey is a political issue. Galamsey must be treated as a political issue. What is politics? If any administration is able to deal comprehensively with the issue of galamsey, it inures to the benefit of that administration, that political party. So for me, how I see it is that if we are criticizing you on your inability to deal with that issue, what we are telling you is that fix that issue and you'll be good to go. Rather than pampering the issue. You go to our villages, they are not getting good drinking water to drink. And you say we should sit down, we'll talk about it. But the problem is that our institutions, those that are representing us, most of them have been compromised. Does it not strike you that in each of the districts that we have in this country, we have the district chief executive, we have the national security person, we have the NIB, we have the police commander, we have the chiefs. All these people are supposed to be opinion leaders. We have immigration, yet galamsey goes on. It happens daily. It is done in the open. Why are they not able to apprehend the culprits? because they are compromised. And the root cause of some of these things is that they come in to finance our political activities. So there has to be a multifaceted solution to this problem. That either as a state, if we are going on the tangent of democracy, we would invest in it and invest in political activism or political parties, then we take that decision rather than leaving it in the hands of individuals who contribute and we do not also declare. So that when they bring you the money, and then you use the money for your political activities and you win political power, how then do you go back and stop them from doing what they did to finance your activities?
So you have no moral right.
You don't have no moral. So that is where, from where I sit, that is where the problem is coming from. The funding of our political activities. If we have that political wherewithal to deal with it, it's a matter, I don't believe that it's complicated. We know those that are doing it. We know where the machines are coming from. Chamfine. Why? How is it that we always find chamfine on our water bodies, yet we sell chamfine in this country? Yes, we sell their motors in this country. Why are we not arresting them? Because it's in the interest of someone. So let us all see it as that and then go after those and also agree with responsible mining. How well are we training those that have acquired the skill to deal effectively or engage in the business of mining? We need to invest in it and get people. That's why the United Parties of Review that those young men and women who have acquired that skill, we will corporatarize them. We will put them together and form companies for them and then give them top-notch management to be able and assign as it were concessions to them, give them equipment, responsible equipment, so that they are under supervision and doing responsible mining. At the end of the day, they are not destroying the environment. At the end of the day, they are also paying their taxes to the state so that the state will rake in more to develop, rather than leaving them ajar. Nobody is controlling them. They do whatever pleases them. And I believe that now that Adam and his colleagues are back, the LI 2462, it has to be fast.
It will be repealed, yeah.
With the speed of thunder. They have to revoke it so that we move forward. And never again must we, as it were, entertain some of these things. And again, they should look at amending the Constitution to make chiefs co-trustees of our natural resources so that the president alone, together with the Minerals Commission and Lands Commission, cannot sit in Accra and grant licenses to individuals to go to villages that they have never stepped foot there to go and mine when the locals or the traditional authorities have no clue or do not agree to that.
Roland.
All right. Adam Agbana, Member of Parliament for Ketu North. I'm told that the Speaker is advocating for annual leave for the MPs. It came up, so we discussed it this morning. But also, Dr. Joshua Jebuntie Zato, thank you for passing through the studio. Today, you look very subdued. I hope everything is fine.
No problem.
Okay.
No, in the UP
and then,
tradition.
The introduction
But
has
why did
brought...
you put me between two people from the UP tradition? UP.
Oh yeah, no. They are
Solomon
a subset of us.
They are a subset of your party.
I have a couple of comments, and so thank you as well. Moses says that, Roland, more than 95% of those in illegal mining are not from the communities they are destroying. The truth is, no youth or young person will go to destroy their own community. Yeah. These illegal miners are imported from other countries and regions to cause the havoc. Let that sink in. Gabi Naku Sokachi says, today has been a very fair day. Whatever you mean by that, I cannot explain. And Kenzie also has sent me a message, says that that's Kennedy Edem, Kojo Edem, a.k.a. Kenzie, good morning to you, and says that all those Maulians making the noise, don't mind them. Oh. Biheko is the best.
What is Biheko?
You don't know.
No,
Frank Fia in the office of the Minister for Roads. Wishing you all the best, as well as all those in the office. Good morning to you, Frank, and the rest of the team there. But we have more comments coming in, and so all of you who sent, including Ebu Bakman says that easy to steal, difficult to recover.
Well, you are not being fair. There are a lot of Maulians are sending messages. But
what I see is Prince
Daniel York. Prince Daniel York is a Prempeh guy. He says that the OSP statement misses the mark on what the public truly want. The U.S. ships deportees to Ghana in Africa as a stopover before sending them back to their home countries. Yet here you are, dragging your feet with endless feedback and forth. We are exhausted by empty words. Deliver real action now. Fast track the extradition and retrieve our money for us. Oral must work. Congratulations to Solomon and the UP.
Thank you very much, Senior. I'm very grateful.